F1, and although he has been perceived as a driver that had no idea how to drive an F1 car, it's sad to see him leave this way. Nonetheless, the numbers speak for themselves, and while Latifi scored his first points of the season after Williams announced his departure, it was far from enough to keep him on the team. The final nail in the coffin was Vries' performance in Monza, which is when F1 fans started to call for the Dutchman to replace the Canadian. Nevertheless, 2022 was a miserable season for the Canadian, and there have been lots of rumors that he lost his confidence after his devastating crash in Abu Dhabi and ruining Hamilton's 8th world title in 2021. But why is Latifi performing so badly? What did Jost Capito have to say about the Canadian's performance? And what does Hamilton have to do with Latifi's exit from F1? Let's find out. Nicholas Latifi's career in F1 hasn't been a spectacular one, and the sole reason he stayed in F1 for so long was the financial support of Sofina. Sofina is a company that is led by his father, and in 2020, when Williams had a fair share of financial struggles, Latifi came in clutch and saved the company from potential bankruptcy. For this favor, Latifi has asked the team to give his son a starting seat on the team, which they gladly accepted due to the fact that they weren't as competitive back then. But it became evident right away that Latifi's skill set is far from suitable when it comes to driving an F1 car. As a result, the F1 community has begun to demand his departure as soon as possible, but due to the COVID-influenced season and the economic impact the pandemic had on the sport, the money from Sofina was simply too valuable to give up when your team is struggling so badly. However, with the new investment of Jost Capito, things changed. When 2022 came along, many thought that Latifi would have a redeeming chance at Williams, now that the new cars are, well, new for everyone. This is when skill sets matter most, and it's when a driver needs to prove to himself whether or not he is worthy of an F1 seat. Latifi had a new teammate in Albon, and yet again he failed to perform at the required level, with Albon proving that the FW44 can score points. Finally, when Vries demonstrated in Monza that the FW44 could perform far better than what Latifi was showcasing up until that point, it became clear that Williams was in desperate need of a better driver. Eventually, this is why they decided to let go of Latifi in a mutual agreement, and although the Canadian cost them so many points and money in repairs, Capito had nothing but praise for the short period he managed the Canadian. He is a great team player who has a great attitude towards his colleagues and work and is well liked and respected throughout the business. Our time together is now coming to an end, but I know he will put full effort in to maximize what we can do together for the remainder of the season. We wish him all the very best luck for his future, both in and out of the cockpit, finished Capito. However, there is something that Latifi's career will forever be labeled with, and that is his influence on the 2021 championship. Latifi crashed during the race's final stages in an area that required a safety car deployment at the stage's final corners. Capito never blamed Latifi because he made contact with the Haas of Mick Schumacher and sustained damage, which ultimately led to his crash. Although Horner jokingly said that Latifi would have a lifetime supply of Red Bull energy drinks, the crash and the outcome of the 2021 championship were something that affected Latifi deeply. It is actually one of the main reasons why he lost the confidence to drive an F1 car. Jost Capito spoke with the High Performance podcast, saying that it wasn't easy to bring Latifi back in an F1 car after the 2021 finale. We had to continue to restore his confidence. We told him there was nothing wrong. It was very difficult because it was the end of the season. Everyone goes on vacation. He wasn't here every day, and we didn't interfere too much, but we knew what was going on. We knew he had strayed from his social media, but if we had interfered too much, I think we would have made the situation worse, said Capito. Capito continued to talk about Latifi, saying that the 2022 performance was something that the team couldn't cope with, and they ultimately had to let him go for the good of the team. I think his performance was this year not on the level he expected of his performance himself, and we didn't expect his performance to be like this. So, and then after 3 years, I think it's right for the team and the driver to find different opportunities for both, finished Capito. But how did Hamilton ruin Latifi's career? When it comes to the 2021 season, rest assured that the fans are something that can turn your life into a living hell. Although Hamilton hasn't said anything directly to Latifi, or Latifi didn't do anything intentionally to hurt Hamilton's legacy, the circumstances led to Verstappen claiming his maiden championship and Hamilton losing the record-breaking 8th championship. According to Capito, the 2022 performance of Latifi is heavily influenced by the outcome of the 2021 season, adding, "As I mentioned in Monza, I believe Nicky's performance has been impacted by last year's Abu Dhabi outcome and circumstances after that. There are some interesting and quite bizarre facts after the Monza GP that affected both Latifi and Williams. For example, the driver that put the last nail in Latifi's coffin won't replace the Canadian in Williams. Also, Williams received the first points from Latifi this season just a couple of weeks after firing him in a race that was quite challenging due to the rainy conditions. Latifi was able to climb from P19 to P9, managing to stay on track and be one of the first drivers to change from full wet to intermediate tires. Nevertheless, although Hamilton has indirectly interfered with Latifi's performance due to the social media abuse of his fans, the seven-time world champion has shared his support and comfort with Latifi and has condemned the social media slurs. Even with this, it must be a bitter pill to swallow to know that you've been the main reason why the 2021 championship turned out to be one of the most interesting and most controversial championships since the sport has been introduced. And is it possible that Latifi would have been much better in 2022 if it hadn't been for the 2021 accident? As of now, no one can quite confirm it, as we only have the facts in front of us. The media can speculate as much as it likes, but the fact is that Latifi's performance was far away from desirable or sufficient in order for him to remain in F1. It's unlikely that Latifi will continue in F1 after the Williams tenure, and according to reports, the team are looking to sign either Mick Schumacher or Logan Sargeant as his replacement. Mick is already a proven F1 driver in Haas, and although his results aren't that good, the experience itself should be enough to land him the Williams seat. On the other hand, the team could pick Logan Sargeant if he manages to finish in the top 5 in Formula 2 and becomes eligible for a super license. Either way, whether you're sorry for Latifi's lack of confidence in the way he left F1 or not, Williams has an interesting period ahead of them as they are on a scavenger hunt for a driver. The car that they can provide could fight for scrap points, and drivers like Hülkenberg or Giovinazzi, who are desperately looking to make a comeback in F1, could be good suitors. When talking about the future driver and what kind of drivers Williams is looking at, Capito said, "There's a good choice of drivers. It's a good choice of young drivers. There's still some experienced drivers there as well. And so I think it's quite different philosophies, different strategies. And in the situation of the team, we can work on different strategies. We are not so much in the front that we need 2 experienced drivers, so we can experiment a bit and get young drivers in. So we'll see what turns out to be the best. Either we think Sargeant is ready and he's capable or not. He could do another year in F2 or whatever," finished Capito, who stressed that the only factor that will predominate over Williams taking Sargeant as Latifi's replacement or not will be his skill, not his nationality. When talking with RTL News, Capito spoke about the chance of Schumacher suiting up with Albon from 2023 onwards, adding, "Mick is an option. He also deserves to stay in Formula 1. We'll see if that happens, but he's definitely an option for us. If you look at George Russell, he made mistakes as a sophomore at Williams, and he is still developed. With that being said, what do you think of Latifi's exit and of Williams' future? Let us know in the comments below."